They say a rose by any other name would smell as sweet, but apparently some names carry the stench of deception that can poison even the purest love. 3 months before what should have been the happiest day of my life, my world collapsed over something I thought was beautiful tradition. My name is Connor and I'm 31 years old. I work as an architect in Denver, designing homes for families who dream of building something lasting together. Ironic, considering I couldn't even build a lasting engagement. Melissa and I had been together for 4 years. We met at a coffee shop downtown when she accidentally grabbed my order, a caramel macchiato with an extra shot. She was rushing to a job interview at a marketing firm, flustered and apologetic. I told her to keep the coffee and wished her luck. She got the job, and 6 months later she tracked me down through mutual friends to thank me and ask me out. She was everything I thought I wanted. Ambitious, beautiful, funny in that sharp way that keeps you on your toes. She had this laugh that filled rooms and this way of making everyone feel like they were the most interesting person she'd ever met. My family adored her. My mother especially. Melissa would spend hours with her in the kitchen, learning family recipes and listening to stories about my grandmother's immigration from Ireland. That's why I thought she'd love the tradition. We were planning our wedding for June. Everything was booked: the venue, the caterer, the photographer. Melissa had spent months obsessing over every detail. She'd created spreadsheets color-coded by priority level. She had backup plans for backup plans. This wedding meant everything to her, or so I thought. The conversation happened on a Sunday morning in March. We were lying in bed, scrolling through our phones, when she showed me the wedding website template she'd been working on. It was beautiful, elegant fonts, soft color palette, photos of us looking ridiculously. "This looks amazing," I said, pulling her closer. "Mrs. Melissa O'Brien has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?" The silence that followed felt like the air being sucked out of the room. She sat up slowly, her expression shifting to something I'd never seen before. Not anger exactly, but something colder. "About that," she said carefully, "I've been thinking I might keep my maiden name." I was surprised but tried to stay casual. "Oh, okay, any particular reason?" "It's just, Hartwell is my identity. My professional brand. All my work connections know me as Melissa Hartwell. Changing it would be complicated." I understood the professional angle, but something felt off. She'd never mentioned this before. In 4 years of relationship talks, future planning, even joking about our hypothetical kids, she'd never once indicated she wanted to keep her name. "What if you hyphenated?" I suggested. "Hartwell O'Brien." Her jaw tightened. "Why is this so important to you? It's just a name." "If it's just a name, then why can't you take mine?" That's when everything exploded. She launched into this speech about patriarchal traditions and outdated expectations, about how asking her to change her name was asking her to erase her identity. She accused me of being controlling, traditional in the worst way, and completely oblivious to what century we were living in. I was stunned, not by her feminist perspective, I respected that, but by the venom in her voice, like I'd personally insulted everything she stood for. "Melissa, I'm not trying to control you," I said. "It's tradition in my family. My grandmother took my grandfather's name, my mother took my father's. It's about unity, about becoming a family together. Your family, your traditions." She shot back. "What about what I want? Then tell me what you want. We'll figure it out together." But she was already getting dressed, grabbing her keys. "I need space to think about whether I can marry someone who sees me as property to be branded." She left. For 3 days. When she came back, she was different, distant. She went through the motions of wedding planning, but the excitement was gone. She'd respond to my texts with one-word answers. She stopped staying over. When I asked what was wrong, she'd say she was processing and needed time to figure things out. 2 weeks later, she called off the wedding, not postponed, cancelled. She did it over dinner at our favorite restaurant, which somehow made it worse. She ordered her usual grilled salmon with asparagus, like this was just another date night. "I can't marry you, Connor," she said between bites. The name thing made me realize we want different things. You want a traditional wife who'll mold herself to fit your family's expectations. I need a partner who respects my independence. I was devastated. "Melissa, we can work this out. Keep your name. I don't care about that as much as I care about you." She shook her head. "It's not just about the name anymore. It's about what it represents. We're incompatible." She'd already called the vendors, cancelled everything, told both our families. I was the last to know my own wedding was off. The next month was brutal. I threw myself into work, trying to design other people's dreams while mine crumbled. Friends and family were supportive but confused. Everyone kept asking what really happened because the name explanation didn't add up to them either. My sister Lauren was especially suspicious. "Something's not right, Connor. Melissa talked about being Mrs. O'Brien all the time. Remember at Christmas when she joked about monogramming towels?" Lauren was right. Melissa had mentioned taking my name multiple times over the years. She'd even practiced writing Melissa O'Brien when she thought I wasn't looking. That's when I decided to investigate. I still had access to our shared Netflix account and cloud storage. Call it snooping, call it closure-seeking. But I needed answers. What I found in her Google Drive made my blood freeze. Hidden in a folder labeled Work Projects were documents that had nothing to do with marketing. Bank statements for accounts I'd never heard of. Rental agreements for an apartment across town, and most damning of all, a marriage certificate. Melissa Hartwell had been married to someone named Trevor Blackwood for 8 months, not divorced from a previous marriage, currently married, while engaged to me. The timeline made my head spin. She'd married Trevor in July, 2 months after we got engaged. While we were tasting wedding cakes and picking flowers, she was living a double life with another man. I screenshot everything. Then I kept digging. Trevor Blackwood was a real estate developer from California, wealthy from what I could tell from his social media presence. Melissa had been traveling to Los Angeles monthly for work conferences throughout our engagement. Those weren't conferences. The rental agreement was for an apartment she'd been keeping secret, probably as a place to meet Trevor when he was in Denver. The bank statements showed deposits I couldn't trace, but they were substantial. I felt sick, angry, but mostly I felt foolish. The signs had been there, the mysterious work trips, the new expensive jewelry she claimed were bonuses from work, the way she'd become secretive with her phone. She hadn't called off our wedding because of my last name. She'd called it off because she already had one. She was Melissa Blackwood, but here's the thing about cancelled weddings: you still have deposits to lose and explanations to give. Our families were confused and hurt. My parents had planned their vacation around our wedding. Her parents had flown in from Portland for dress shopping and stayed an extra week to spend time with their future son-in-law. Everyone deserved the truth. I printed out everything. The marriage certificate, the rental agreement, even screenshots of her social media posts with Trevor that she'd hidden from her main feed. Then I called my mother. "Mom, I need to tell you something about Melissa. Can you get Dad on the line too?" I told them everything. They were shocked, then furious on my behalf. My mother started crying, not just for me but for Melissa's parents, who she'd grown close to during wedding planning. "Those poor people," she said. "They have no idea what their daughter has done." That's when Lauren had an idea that was either brilliant or terrible, depending on your perspective. "The reception venue," she said. "You can't get your deposit back, right? What if we still had the gathering, not a wedding obviously, but a truth-telling session?" I stared at her. "What do you mean?" "I mean invite everyone who would have been at the wedding. Both families, the wedding party, close friends. Tell them the truth about why it was cancelled. Let them hear it from you instead of whatever story Melissa's spinning." It was bold. It was potentially vindictive. It was also strangely appealing. I thought about it for 2 days. Part of me wanted to just move on, take the high road, let people believe whatever they wanted to believe. But the bigger part of me was tired of protecting someone who'd never protected me. I sent out new invitations. Connor's Truth Reception, we called it. "In lieu of a wedding celebration, please join us for an evening of honesty, closure, and moving forward. Light refreshments will be served." 60 people showed up. Both sets of parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins, the wedding party, close friends. Even Melissa's college roommate came, probably expecting drama. I stood up in front of everyone with a microphone the venue coordinator had set up. "Thank you all for coming," I began. "I know this is unusual. 3 months ago, you were all invited to celebrate Melissa and me starting our life together. Instead, you're here because I need you to know why that's not happening." I told them everything. The name conversation that triggered the breakup, my investigation, the evidence I'd found. I kept it factual, not vindictive, but I didn't soften the truth either. Melissa didn't call off our wedding because I asked her to take my name, I concluded. She called it off because she already had taken someone else's. She's been married to Trevor Blackwood for 8 months. The silence was deafening. Then Melissa's mother started crying. Her father looked like he'd been punched in the stomach. My cousin Dylan broke the silence. "Dude, what the hell?" That opened the floodgates. People started talking, asking questions, sharing their own suspicions they'd kept quiet about. Melissa's best friend admitted she'd wondered about the mysterious work trips. My brother said he'd thought it was weird how evasive she'd become about her phone. The evening turned into something I hadn't expected: therapeutic. People shared their own stories of betrayal and deception. We talked about red flags we'd ignored, instincts we'd dismissed. It became less about Melissa and more about healing. Melissa's parents approached me before leaving. "Connor," her mother said, tears still fresh, "we're so sorry. We had no idea. If we had known." "It's not your fault," I told them. "You raised the daughter you thought you knew. We all believed in that version of her." Her father shook my hand. "You deserve better than this. I hope you find someone who appreciates what a good man you are." They drove home to Portland the next morning. I heard through mutual friends that they confronted Melissa and she admitted everything. Apparently Trevor had been pressuring her to choose between her 2 lives, and she thought ending things with me would solve the problem. It didn't. Trevor found out about the secret engagement and left her too. She lost both relationships and gained a reputation as someone who couldn't be trusted. I found out later. Been fired from her marketing job for falsifying expense reports. Apparently those work trips to California had been personal, and she'd been billing them to the company. As for me, the truth reception became legendary among our friend groups. People still reference it when talking about handling betrayal with dignity. I got more support and genuine connection from that evening than I probably would have from an actual wedding. 6 months later, I met Hannah at a bookstore. She was reading a mystery novel, and I joked that I'd had enough mystery in my life to last forever. We started talking, and when the topic of marriage came up naturally weeks later, she said she'd love to take her husband's name someday because she thought hyphenated names on wedding invitations looked cluttered. I laughed so hard she thought I was having some kind of episode. We've been together 2 years now, planning a wedding for next spring. And yes, she's excited to become Hannah O'Brien. Sometimes the worst betrayals clear the path for the best blessings. Melissa did me a favor by showing me who she really was before I legally committed to her. The name she refused to take would have been wasted on someone who didn't understand its value. My grandmother always said that people show you their true character when they think no one is watching. Melissa thought her secrets were safe in hidden folders and private accounts. She forgot that love makes people pay attention, and lies always leave traces. I kept one screenshot from her social media, a post from her honeymoon with Trevor where she wrote, "Finally found my forever person." She posted it 3 months before our engagement party. Sometimes I look at it to remind myself that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to recognize the red flags sooner, trust your instincts louder, and never settle for someone who makes you feel like loving them is a privilege they're granting you. The truth reception taught me something valuable. Honesty might be uncomfortable, but deception is unbearable. When someone lies to you about something as fundamental as their marital status, they're not just betraying your relationship, they're stealing your right to make informed choices about your own life. I'm grateful every day that Melissa's refusal to take my name led me to discover who she really was. Some traditions matter not because they're old, but because they represent something deeper: commitment, unity, truth. She already had another name because she already had another life. I just wish she'd been honest enough to tell me before I fell in love with a ghost.